Try it again.
What up? What up? What up? What's going on, y'all? Hopefully, it is a good day on this good Thursday. Welcome back to the Love and Business Podcast, the official
Yes.
Love and Business Podcast, man.
Oh,
Be sure to let us know where you're watching from.
yeah.
Let us know where you're watching from. If you're watching the replay, or if you're watching it live,
Yes.
and let us know where you hashtag live in the city that you are viewing from.
Yes, sir.
Definitely like to kind of know who we got on here. So
Yes, that'd be great. All right.
yeah,
Well, let's get into it, sir.
let's get into it, man.
Please and thank you. Join me.
Well, here's the thing that I want to
Oh, look at you. The great
hey,
the
Corey,
great
Hazelhurst, Mississippi. Absolutely, we had a time at homecoming, man.
Oh,
I don't know. I didn't see you, Black. I didn't see you, man. But I'm sure that you had a time too, man. It's always good to get back home and connect with some. It's something, man, when you can go somewhere and you don't have to introduce yourself to anybody.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, it's because you just at home.
I mean,
like, everybody knows.
We grew up in small towns, so I mean, everybody know everybody.
But that's it. That's refreshing to be able to just jump in and do that, man. But it was love, man. It was a good time.
I'm glad you enjoyed yourself
down there. So yeah, I did.
Brought back a whole bunch of dusty clothes.
I did. I need to take them all to the cleaners because we was just in a hayfield. Seemed like, man, it was. Yeah, it left something. They should have sprayed some water. Had the fire department or something come spray some water on the field or something. I don't know.
Y'all football field is dusty?
No, this was like the parking lot area, like outside. But the football field ain't really.
It don't have grass or nothing?
Yeah, it just was beat down. It's been dry, but nonetheless.
I got you.
nonetheless, man. Hey, I had a real self discovery moment yesterday.
Yesterday, what happened yesterday?
Uh,
Yesterday was 1, 2, 3 Wednesday.
it was Wednesday.
I
yeah.
know you're not finna say what.
Man, listen.
I don't.
Listen. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just me
Mhm.
or what, but
Mhm.
I was
Mhm.
yesterday years old.
This is so embarrassing. I just want you to know.
When
I asked you not to discuss this, and you not only are you about to discuss it, but you about to discuss it in front of a live audience.
I mean, this is, but hey, they tap in, man. So I'm cool with it.
All right, great.
This
Well,
ain't this.
tap yourself then.
I'm just
Go
saying,
ahead. Say it.
because
Say
I
what you gonna
genuinely
say.
didn't know.
All right, you didn't know. I understand. Continue.
Listen.
I want you to tell the people what you didn't
Listen, I did not know
know. Mm-hmm.
for all of my 38 years
Yes.
until yesterday
Until yesterday.
that the old tape players that used to be in cars,
Mhm.
that the legitimate name of them
Mhm.
was an 8-track.
Yes, like the number 8.
I always thought people said A-track.
Uh-huh.
Like, hey, you got an 8-track, you got an 8-track player.
Okay.
I did not know until yesterday that they were called 8-track. And the only reason I knew is because we were watching Wheel of Fortune and they said, it was a thing or something like that. And the puzzle was 8-track player.
8-track tape.
8-track tape.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would have never got that. What is, like an 8-track tape? Like, is that what I think they're saying?
That's exactly
and I
what they
said, I
said.
never knew that
Yes.
that was what that was.
Yeah. And at that moment, sitting at that kitchen table, I was devastated and embarrassed.
Man, I mean,
in my own house.
I don't know if I'm the only one. I was born in 85. So, I know somebody
I mean,
that
I
may
get it
not,
that 8-track wasn't necessarily like a thing. I think that 8-track players was probably, like still around because we
Man.
had cassette tapes.
Yeah, that's what the same.
Right. So we wasn't too far removed from 8-tracks. I mean, it was removed, but like I'm saying, I just don't know why you didn't know it was
because
8-track.
I've only heard people articulate it or say it. Hey, that you
People
older than
from
the
where?
8-track. You older than the
From
8-track.
from
You know
where?
what I'm saying?
People from where?
Wherever. I don't know, but I grew up in Hazelhurst, so in Mississippi. So I mean, that's just what it is. I didn't know. I've never seen it spelled out, so I didn't know. That it was a 8, like the number 8-track.
Yes.
I'm sure if it had been a 7-track player, then I would have known. But I didn't know it was called 8-track. I thought it was called 8-track.
Yes.
Like 8-track player. Like I just thought it was called 8-track player. Like you older than an 8-track. Like you still got an 8-track in your car. Like I didn't know.
Well, I'm so glad.
Maybe I'm the only person. If I listen, guys, if I'm not the only person, please let me know, because
you're gonna be the only person that did not know that the 8-track was the actual number 8.
Well, yeah, I didn't know that.
You're gonna be the only one. Like, I mean, I'm talking about the only one in all of Black history.
I don't believe that. My folks didn't have a car that had a 8-track.
Call your mama then.
Or
I
8-track.
bet your mama know.
When I was growing up.
But everybody, you know what? This speaks to why it's so important
to know the people that you
enunciate your words correctly.
Well, I believe
we
that
country.
has something to do with
I get it. You know what I'm saying? We country, but ain't no way. Man,
it's an 8-track.
I understand, but I get it. 8 and A.
Yeah, that
can sound similar, but I guess I'm just trying to figure out what's the science behind the letter 8-track.
I have no clue. That person that named it, I don't know the science behind why Google is Google. You know what I'm saying? Or why Yahoo is Yahoo. I don't know. That's who named it. When you own something like Denzel said on American Gangster.
Did anybody else know that it was called the 8, like the number 8-track, or does everybody here think that it was letter A?
8-track. 8-track. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't know. I didn't know why they named it what they named it. Denzel on American Gangster said, "Hey, when you own something, you can name it what you want to. Just don't call it Blue Magic.
Just don't call it an 8-track. because it's gonna be an 8 track. Okay.
I tell you, I've said it before, never written it down, but I've said it before.
Clearly, you've been saying it all wrong.
I know, but nobody ever said anything. Just like you didn't tell that girl no difference about that heel.
That's different, and that was last week.
Well,
we're not on that. I'm saying that.
I'll just let you know. I'll just let you know.
Okay, fine. I just want you to know that that's wild. And the fact that you brought that up on the podcast after I said, do not tell anybody outside of this house.
I'm trying to see if my people, if you know, I ain't posted on Facebook.
No, you just went live.
But I'm just saying, like it.
LaShawn gonna say, be nice.
But LaShawn probably they probably grew up in that, you know, like they probably went to the store and bought 8 tracks. You know what I'm saying? You know?
Yeah. No. LaShawn wasn't. No,
man, I'm sure LaShawn, they probably did.
He just hit you with.
I'm just saying, like they as a kid.
But I've seen an 8 track though. That's what I'm telling you. Like I've seen
it. You know, I've seen them too, but like on TV anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I didn't.
She said, "Negro, I'm not that old."
Listen, I'm not saying that you're old. I'm just saying that your exposure level may be a little bit broader than mine. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
All I'm saying is, I just cannot believe that all of these years of your life, you've been thinking that this thing was called an A track.
Like an A track.
So you thought that it was only one track that was on the cartridge?
I didn't know. I had no clue. Like
I was just okay with the name A track. I never asked the question.
Yeah, just like how I know that's I knew the cassette player or cassette tape was the updated version of that. I'd hear people be like, "Oh yeah, they had that old A track cassette."
Thank you.
Know what I'm saying? Something like
LaShawn said she grew up on cassette tapes. I too grew up on.
Well, that was the cassette had a long era.
I really just can't believe that you didn't know that until yesterday. Yeah, thank God for Wheel of Fortune. We typically watch Wheel of Fortune while we eat dinner. And we try to guess the puzzles together as a family.
But that was a little bit, you know.
Yesterday actually turned into a lesson for Lamar, and thankfully he's learning all new things now as an adult. Praise God.
No, man, I ain't had it. It was an 86.
He didn't even. The radio didn't even work up in there.
I had a CD player.
He did not. I gave you a radio for the car. Quit playing.
But the radio worked.
It did not.
Yeah, no, I didn't have one in there. It was a 1986 Chevy Caprice that was midnight blue, had metallic.
It might have came with an 8-track player in there at one point.
With white leather interior with the crushed blue velvet.
We've already went through this. I don't want to talk about that car anymore.
I had to relive it for a second.
I don't want to talk about that. Yes.
But no, I just didn't know.
All right.
So maybe I'm on the slow bus.
Can we get off of that?
Yeah, maybe I'm on the slow bus. But I didn't know.
I don't think you. I really think that you're the only person that thought that.
Maybe so, man. I don't know.
Yeah. He said your car was clean, man. But look at there. There's one person that has a memory of the car being clean. I'm so happy for you. That just made his day.
It was.
I'm so glad.
It did. Dustin Shackner made my day a few times, especially on the field, man. That guy's a warrior.
Well, good stuff.
Right. So, hey, we do have something we want to talk about today.
Great.
And it's really, you know, the power of your words. And this is spurred really from last week.
Yeah, I'll tell you this part. Y'all only really get to what we do on this for, you know, an hour or however long we be on here. This really don't be the podcast. I'm thinking we should probably like just sit here and have a conversation for an hour and then hit the live button.
Them go hard.
Because the conversations that we have, I don't know about y'all, but is this something about married people in the bathroom? Because when I tell you our deepest, you know, conversations
between the bathroom and the closet
happen between the bathroom and the closet. You know, I don't know what that is about us.
Not on the toilet. Yeah. Don't talk to me on the toilet.
Yeah, Lamar cannot. When I tell you, he can't even. There's nothing he can do in combination with being on the toilet. Do you hear me? I will call his name and he act like it ain't his name because he on the toilet.
Don't talk to me on the toilet. Let me handle that.
But anywhere else in the bathroom is full. I don't know. Is it just us or do y'all have conversation with your spouse in the bathroom? Like I feel like that's a thing.
Maybe it is, man.
We do have some pretty deep conversations in the bathroom. Like most of like our conversations happen in the bathroom.
It does.
That is so weird. But anyway, so last week after the podcast, of course, we go to the bathroom. We about to get ready for bed. So and we end up stopping. Lamar went to the closet to iron his clothes and stuff. So I'm between the bathroom and the closet. You know what I'm saying? See, she said we have our funniest convos in the bathroom. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like for us, we have funny convos and deep conversations
and serious ones
and serious conversations in the bathroom. So much so that my legs end up going numb. I'm sitting on the counter.
Yeah.
He on his side, or he's sitting on the side of the tub. I'm like, man, we got other places we could sit,
We really do.
but we just don't. I don't know. It's so weird. But anyway, so we go after the podcast last week, and we start to have this discussion about how important it is, to choose your words wisely, right? Like to not necessarily just full blown come into agreement with something, or speak on something, and that's not necessarily what you want to to see happen, right? So case in point, what legitimately happened is there's a comment that comes up in the chat, and it has something to do with family or something or whatever. But I don't even know what it said verbatim.
Yeah. Not verbatim. I don't know what it said.
Yeah,
it's
I don't
hard
know.
to let family go or something like that.
Yeah. Lamorne, and then Lamorne says, yeah, you're right. It is. And I was like, it's not. You know what I'm saying?
Imitated my voice right there.
So anyway, man, we start to talk about it. We start to have dialogue about it. And I was like, for me, I would never, come into agreement with something that I don't legitimately believe that's, true. Because you know how sometimes we just kind of in conversation, how people will just say random stuff like, man, if it ain't one thing, it's another. And then the next thing you know, you be like, man, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like it's this it's like this automated response, right? It's almost like call and response. Somebody says something, and then you feel like you're obligated, to say something back, right? And so I was telling him, I was like, no, I actually practice combating stuff like that. So if somebody says to me, oh man, if it ain't one thing, it's another, I say, well, no, I don't live like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to
respond,
or I'll just look at them. You know what I'm saying? Like
conversation, looking like,
and Lamar be over there sometimes. He be feeling guilty, like, dang, she ain't gonna say nothing.
Exactly.
Or if I do come back, then he's good. But I think you probably are more uncomfortable with awkward silence than I am.
Yeah, because think about it. Like the one that comes to my mind, we standing in line at a restaurant or something like that, and we, the guy's saying something like, man, we can't, they make it hard to make money, or we can't make no money or something like that. And I'm thinking to myself, I hear what he's saying, and I was like, yeah, bro, I know what you mean. And Crystal just was like,
I'm talking about I got stiff as a board,
she
man.
just left the conversation, and I'm like,
I ended up walking away.
I
legit walked away.
I was like, man, I don't want to just walk away from the guy. There's only two of us in the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Me and her and him. She walks away. I gotta, so I'm like, man, but so she was like, I ain't coming into agreement with that foolishness.
I know. And I think that we're so quick to, like literally respond, because we feel like, hey, if a person is talking directly to us and then they turn out, because you don't necessarily know when you're engaging in conversation with somebody, especially if you don't know them at all, or you don't know them well, you don't necessarily know like where that conversation can, can end up.
Right.
But, to my point that I was saying, was I know who I am and, what my beliefs are and what I'm going to stand on.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't matter to me who's in the conversation. Who I am is going to come out, regardless. Like I'm not going to mirror them.
Right.
Like, I'm going to be who I am.
Right. And the thing of it was like, and this is where the conversation really started to, dig a little deeper. Cause I was like, well, I know, what you're saying, but I also know, that the comment could be, like, hey, it could be emotionally tough to disconnect from some people because your journey is taking you somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right. And she's like, no, it's not. Like you cannot, like you shouldn't say that, because then it does become that.
Yeah.
When you say that it's going to be something, then that's what it's going to be.
Your mind, it immediately starts to formulate these thoughts in alignment, with what it is that you just said. Like I remember like some years ago, when the insurance rates got like stupid crazy or something like that.
Yeah.
And the jargon then in the insurance industry was, something to the degree of the market has changed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Market changed, things getting a little tough, whatever. And, that was the lingo everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like duplicating that language only only made us believe, well, if the market's tough, then I guess that's why, you know what I'm saying, we're not able to write as many policies.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Instead of seeing that as a way, you know, to pivot, you know, or to change the way that we were doing business at that time. Instead of thinking, oh, well, the market has changed, so now it's harder. Because for those that you don't know, we live in Louisiana, so you know, homeowners insurance is extremely expensive, you know, and then wind and hail and all that type of stuff, obviously because of hurricanes, right? And so we must have had, like, I don't know what storm it was, but of course when we opened the agency, we were only a few years fresh off after Katrina, so we wasn't even writing homeowners when we first opened.
No, we wasn't.
You know, but we were falling into that language. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, it's tough to write homeowners. You can't write, instead of thinking, oh, well, why don't we just buy leads outside of the New Orleans market, right? Or why don't we, you know, allow ourselves to pivot and be strong in sales in life insurance, right? You know, or health insurance supplements, right? Like, we could have made ourselves experts in a completely different arena, but because we had bought into the thought process of, hey, the market is a little bit, you know what I'm saying, difficult right now, then when we were in that headspace, it became more difficult to write policies.
It did.
You know, and it wasn't that the market did anything different, because there were at that time other agents that was you know, knocking it out of the park.
Exactly.
Because they didn't buy into that thought process, and neither did, you know, every time, you know, a conversation would come up, they wouldn't say things like, oh, the market tough.
Right. So when you take a L, then you like, oh, my excuse is the market is tough.
Immediately.
And then you just keep down that same pattern, and it becomes a viable excuse for you to do nothing about it. Because now everything that you know, everything is contingent upon something that's outside of your control.
100%.
And that's not necessarily the truth.
Well, because your words shape your reality, right? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, the things that we say are a part of, you know, our belief system in some type of way.
Yeah.
So whatever it is that we're feeding ourselves, it's shaping our belief system, and then that belief system is going to eventually control what comes out of our mouth,
right?
You know, and so that's why I'm always so conscious about what I'm reading, what I'm watching, what I'm listening to, who I'm around, because all of that stuff eventually is going to shape my reality.
But I think the biggest component is that we say things, or we come into agreement with stuff like so simple and so quick that we don't understand the ramifications of it from a psyche standpoint, right? Our minds don't really know, you know, like the difference. Sometimes think about it. Your mind doesn't know the difference between a dream and reality.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. You know? That's why it's so important to dream, right? Because the more you expose yourself, you know, to different things, whether you're looking at, you know what I'm saying, a magazine, or whether, you know, you're actually looking at, you know, houses that are available for you to actually purchase, you know, your brain, it don't know which phase you're in. You know what I'm saying? You have to say, oh, okay, I'm looking at this because this is where I'm going. Right? You have to decide that that's what's going to happen. But I don't know what that thing is about this, you know, this thought process of just because somebody says something that we've heard before, you know, or that's familiar, that we have to agree with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, times is hard right now. Oh, we in a recession right now. Like, it's just, I know. It's like we automatically have to say, oh, I agree with it. I ain't on that.
And and even furthermore, why is it that we have to, why do people feel like they need to come to you and say something like a woe is me? You know what I'm saying? Like, man, you know, bro, it's hard out here. You know what I'm saying? It's, hey, boy, it's rough on the pole man, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know, hey, like, well, you know, do I say, yeah, it is? You know what I'm saying? You better get some bread.
I don't know why that, you know what I'm saying, that is either, but I just think that it's super important that we're conscious, you know, about the fact that, hey, just because somebody says something to you, or just because you're in an environment where that's what everybody else is, you know, is doing or saying, it doesn't mean that that's what, you know, you legitimately have to participate in.
But it just seems like if we think it's innocent. You know what I'm saying? Just like I was saying,
because your words matter.
Yeah, you know, but that's what I mean. We think it's innocent, but you know, the good book tells us life and death lies in the power of the tongue. You know what I mean? And we'll think that that's innocent, but the words are still the same words. The words have the same power, whether you shooting them at a mountain and telling it to move, or whether you throwing it into the water like you fishing or something like that. It still has the same power. And that's what I'm realizing. Like the words
just because your intention ain't
exactly that doesn't make
the
words.
The power is still in the word.
Exactly. The power is still in the words.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the part that we, so we'll say some really silly stuff or respond to it. I know I have, for sure. I know I have. I don't know, y'all can, y'all be in the workplace or whatever it may be, on the job and your business. And if it's something negative, then, you may agree with it, even though you don't agree with it.
And I think more people are more apt to agree with something negative than if somebody says something, positive, right? Like if I walk into the room and say, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna be a billionaire. And then everybody else in the room, it's not that likely that everybody else in the room says, oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're more questionable. You know what I'm saying? But if I then walk into the room and say, man, times is hard right now. Man, who you telling?
Right. Exactly.
It's been like that for me for a minute. Like they are full blown in agreement with that. Yeah. And I'm like, man, you need to watch your mouth. You gotta be able to get yourself in a position to where, if nothing else, right? If you can't figure out how to say, something that is against that, right? To make sure that stuff ain't what's coming towards you. If you can't figure that out, I'm saying at least get step one and just be quiet.
Yeah.
Like if you can't combat it, you know what I'm saying, with the positive opposite of that, then just be quiet first. That could be level one. And level one is awkward silence is gonna be okay, because you're not about to profess over me your foolishness.
And see, I gotta work on it, because I would say something like what you just said. Like, what you say? Like, you know what I'm saying? They'd be like, times I'll be like, man, what you say? You know what I'm saying? Which is not me agreeing, but in their mind, they may think I'm agreeing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't trying to make,
maybe I can give you another something else to use. We can put something else in your arsenal. Maybe you can ask a question. Maybe you can say, well, what makes you think that?
Because it's sweet for me.
I mean, even if you can't go in, you know what I'm saying? Because I know how sometimes I think you don't want people to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I want you to get uncomfortable, because I don't want you comfortable like that.
Not in my space.
I don't want you comfortable in that mindset. Not just in my space, because I know if you're talking like that, you're probably not in my space often.
Yeah.
Right. But if it just happens to be that we're in the same environment, at any particular time, and I hear you talking like that, I'm gonna at least try to give you something else to work with, or at least something else to think about before I go. Right. Like, even if it has to be me asking you a question, you know what I'm saying? Well, what makes you think that?
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
Okay.
Do you want that to be better?
They may just say, man, I'm just saying. Because sometimes they just say stuff just to,
because they have nothing else in them. That's why I'm saying that it's so important, you know what I'm saying, that we feed, our minds and our spirits, with the positive things. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is no reason why I should be walking around feeling that down on myself when God created me to be a conqueror.
Yeah. And you know what? I even think about it another step further. How somebody may be like you come into a room, and this is kind of how, I don't know if it's just men or black men or what, but they may be like, what up with it, my boy? You got it, don't it? Know what I'm saying? Like, you got it. And then you be like, nah, bro. You try to play yourself down a little bit, because you're like, nah, I ain't got it, man.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Ain't got it.
I say, I got plenty. I got plenty for me. How much you got? Like, I'm just saying, you walk in, and people do that to us all the time. You know what I'm saying? And I think that it's kind of one of those things where it's like, in admiration, you know what I'm saying? Or like, I think it's cool, humble, whatever. But I'm like, I can find a way to be humble and not arrogant or cocky.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, and so if they say something like that, which people say that all the time, big money in the room. Yeah. That's me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna not own that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why would we not?
I don't know. I'll be sweating it, but I don't know. I just wouldn't. I don't know. I'd be like, man, nah, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's you, Blair. Hey,
well, I'm telling you right now, you go on. Well, Beyonce say, everybody go mute. You need to be mute.
I'll say something like this enough for us.
I want the big money, okay? For full blown clarity. I want all of the coins.
But
So
I'm
when they
trying to
tell
work,
me,
you know,
hey, big money,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Oh, there go the boss. Absolutely, the boss is here. Let's get it.
See, I'm gonna include them in. I'm be like, hey, it's enough for us all out here, man. Let's
It
eat.
depends.
We got
In
to
who
eat, bruh.
pocket?
We
Who
got to
pocket is
eat.
enough for us
I'm
all?
gonna say, I ain't saying that who in the world, the universe.
Oh,
You
hey,
know,
I'm
like
just
it's-
trying to make
yeah,
sure you
God,
because
hey,
you speaking it. So I'm just trying to make sure who
it's-
pocket you saying it's
man,
enough
it's
for them
enough
all
all out here
out there.
that want to get it, that want to work
All
the
right,
principles of
okay.
the kingdom.
I just
They can
need
get it.
I
Just
need
like,
clarity.
just like that.
Okay,
Yeah, man.
because you saying it's enough for us all. You mean it's enough for ours for us all?
No,
Or-
man, come on, man. Nah, okay, you want
Clarity.
clarity. Okay, you want
Okay.
clarity. Nah.
Clarity.
Shaq, it is deep, man. Because realistically, we got to think about how many times we may say something that negative, not really meaning to be negative, but our words don't know that it's
We're
that
not
it's
even
negative.
conscious. That's why we have to watch our mouth, because sometimes we're not even conscious. Like it's to the point where we respond like without even thinking. You know what I'm saying? Because you do know that you can talk without thinking.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can say words without even processing thought.
I'm talking about immediate response.
Yes.
Yeah, immediate
so
response.
if that is the case, then what is your default? Right? What is your default response? I'm always working to be conscious of that.
Yeah.
So I may, you know what I'm saying, be slow to speak because I need to make sure that I'm not defaulted to your beliefs in that situation.
And see, I'll say, like, somebody may be like, man, yeah, you got a nice house or whatnot. I'm like, yeah, man, it keep the rain off of me. You know what I'm saying? It keep me out the wind. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll say something like that versus like, hey, I really do like that house, man.
Thank you as a response.
Has a lot of nice features that I didn't have growing up.
We can add more words, right? Yeah. We can add a lot of more words to the vocabulary. We can say thank you. Okay, that's point number 2. Point number 2, you can say thank you.
Thank you.
First point is you could actually be mute. You could do the Beyonce on these folks and everybody go mute.
The Mississippi nod.
No, because that might be an agreement.
Okay.
I just look at them. You need to just get some clarity.
Hey.
We need number 1, we need to mute. Okay, with no movement. Okay, that's what we doing. We muting with no movement. Because you do one of these, what is that? Agreement. Yeah. We do not want to bob up and down. Hey. Okay. Now you can look at them like this, left to right. But we not bobbing up and down. No. At number 2, we gonna say thank you. Okay. We can do that.
Thank you.
But what we not gonna do is agree with the foolishness. That is not what we about to do here, sir.
No, I understand what you're saying. And that was the whole thing. Like why don't agree with it, even if you may feel like it, but don't agree with it because your words have power.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so don't put that in the air, don't put that in the atmosphere. Because again, your words have power, whether you want it, you know, whether you want it to be pointless or not.
Okay, let me say.
Go ahead. This finna be bad about me. Watch this.
It's not. It's actually nothing about you. So take it back.
Go ahead.
See that how your words got power?
I always think you thinking about me in the most positive way. I always think that.
Anyway, what I was going to say is, I think I'm about to. Maybe y'all can drop some in the comments too, because I'm curious to know, like, what is some dumb stuff that folks say that you've accidentally, you know, agreed with. Now, this ain't one that I've agreed with, but I thought about it and I was like, man, that really is crazy. I wouldn't even want to, you know, think that. But anyway, so in my hometown, folks say stuff like, you know, when folks die, they die in threes.
Oh yeah, they do say that.
They do say that though.
In a family or
and then
like
somebody right behind them be like, "Yeah, you sure right."
Yeah, boy.
Now I'm like, why would you say you right? Do you want to be?
Hey, and look, they'll try to make it true because they'll go back like 2 years and pull somebody that doesn't die.
And I'm like, that's not dying in threes.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
You know, Leroy just died 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, just died 2 years ago.
Or they say something like, well, you know, such and such just had a baby, so that means somebody gotta die. What are we doing here? Like, watch your mouth, man. Like, you do not have to. Just because somebody died does not mean we need 2 more.
Hey,
I just want to free some people today, okay? Because we be saying some dumb stuff. Yeah. She said that was most country, not just okay. All right, I thought it was just, you know what I'm saying, just folk and natchez saying stuff like that, you know what I'm saying. But I think it's important, you know, that we pay attention to what we say, you know, because our words really do matter. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what if you just kill 2 more people?
Well, I'm just saying.
What?
They done put it out there. Why you just looking for it though? And then somebody get in the hospital. Here's what I think of transpire. Somebody is in the hospital, and instead of you praying for them, your mind is already set.
That this the second one.
Exactly. Such
Because somebody just died last week. Man, I just want y'all to see how your thoughts then become your beliefs.
Or somebody,
then they become the words that come out of your mouth. And you gotta protect your thoughts. When people around here saying dumb stuff like that, you gotta be like, nah, that ain't what I'm on right there. And help them. You know what I'm saying? Help the people. Like in some stages I'm mute because I'm like, this might not be worth my breath. But in other phases, you know what I'm saying? When it's really, when I see that somebody is completely like, hey, I'm stuck here, I'm gonna try to help them, by combating those thoughts and let them know that that's not, what I'm saying, necessarily the way or the path that they need to take.
I got a friend of mine that I talk to kind of often, and he has this little saying, and he's like, I'm like, man, how your wife doing? He's like, my dad say if she ain't getting on your nerves, she ain't a woman.
Well, I don't know who he is, but this the last day he your friend.
With this, so I'm like, now I'm thinking I'm gonna be like, bro, my wife, I ain't, you know what I'm saying? No. We ain't gonna think like that. You know what I'm saying? Or another day, another quarter, another, you know what I'm saying, another dollar or something like that. Like, no, man.
No, we just want $1 in the day.
That's another day, another dollar.
I'm telling you, man, these little sayings is the reason why a lot of folk is in the situations that they in, because this is what they say every single day.
Another day for prosperity.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? Why gotta be another day, another dollar? Yeah, another day, another 10 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing to ourselves here? But we're thinking that these things are innocent, but we're really coming into agreement and covenant with these, with these sayings and these slang things that we've picked up, from generations, right? And some of this stuff is, it's completely unnecessary, but we're so unconscious in what it is that we're saying or agreeing to, and then we're wondering why the circumstances are what they are. As I remember, back to the State Farm thing, when the market really was like wild, you know what I'm saying? And I remember like addressing it, and I was like, man, when we gonna stop saying that the market is changed, you know what I'm saying, instead of changing? You know what I'm saying? Like I think I had just got fed up with the excuse, and I'm like, man, we really are feeding ourselves some junk. And junk in is junk out.
Right.
I'm like, man, I'm tired of saying this. It ain't the market, because that person didn't look like they was impacted by the market. And that one, and well, let's just keep scrolling. It was because we was in that headspace.
And you said it right there. Like things around you changed and you didn't change.
100%.
And you said, like, hey, things around the market changed, but we didn't change anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you hunt what's in season.
And then what would be the expectation for, especially in business, right? For everything to stay the exact same. It's never going to be that way. We have to be okay with evolving, and changing, especially the way that we think and, how we talk. Because a lot of us, obviously, have been raised to just believe some things that aren't good for us. It's not necessarily the best way of thinking, and that doesn't make the people that raised us bad people. But hey, this is all they have. But I'm saying we know better, right? And so we should do better. We should choose our words wisely. We should be more conscious. Like, we have the ability to be conscious in these conversations and not just coming into agreement, innocently. And then even if it isn't innocently, okay, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about why we have these belief systems, and let's talk about how they're impacting us across the board. How they're impacting our relationships, or our business, or just day-to-day life, us being parents. Like, how are these thought processes and the words that we're saying, how are they shaping the environments that we live in?
And I think about some of the songs that like we used to sing, that we sing now, even old gospel songs. Like I'm coming up on the rough side of the mountain.
Lord,
You know what I mean?
now we got to have a hard
And
time.
there's a leak in this old building. You know what I mean? Like,
We
come
got
on,
to
man.
have-
You know what
I'm
I'm saying?
telling
Like,
you,
yeah.
man, when you become more conscious, and then of course now at this point, now everybody else says that you're an extremist, right? So now when you say, "Well, I
Yeah.
can't sing," I'm coming up on the rough side of the mountain no more. Now everybody looking at you like, "Oh, okay, that's how you gonna be."
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, do you want to come on the rough side? Like,
Exactly.
let's ask the questions.
You want glory to be
get
when you
people where they need to be at. When you tell me where would you want to be, on the easy road or a rough side of a mountain? Let's talk about it.
Because he said he came that you might have life and life more abundantly.
I really don't want to be walking up nobody's rough side of a mountain. I don't even want to climb a mountain. The people made me climb a mountain. We was over there in place, and we fell down. Trying to come.
You slipped.
I fell twice.
Okay, it sounded like you was going to say you fell down the mountain.
I did. On the way back, I fell down twice.
Okay, you fell down.
Going down the mountain.
You did. You know, it wasn't like a cliffhanger slide.
It was enough for me.
Like,
you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, we singing these songs, we saying these words, and I'm like, okay, if you reap that, then are you okay with it? That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? If you reap what you say or what you sing, are you okay with it?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, man. It's just not even country. I mean, not even conscious. I was thinking about this country song that I heard by this guy. I think his name is Jelly Roll or something like that. And
oh Lord,
yeah. I mean, listen, country music is like another form of
it's
blues.
a country singer
named Jelly Roll.
First of all, that's why I don't sing the blues now, because it's called the blues.
The blues,
you can sing it, and I'm just trying to figure out what state of mind do you think you're going to be in when you finish singing it.
And
it is called the blues.
It's a blues song.
Case in point, I just want
to is a nickel and a nail.
Okay. And if you know any more words to that song, I'm gonna need you to hit the little MIB button and flash it from your memory.
These last $2. These last $2.
Okay, sir.
He say he ain't gonna lose it though, but he ain't got them but for the bus stop and the jukebox.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all he got. I'm just saying, why are y'all doing this? It's okay with it, man. Like, I'm just saying, if for one moment you could be fully conscious, man, and fully participate, like really zone in and see where you are. Like, even now, like, it's weird because when we were younger and stuff, man, the thing I used to love to do the most was listen to music. I had, CDs. I had stacks and stacks.
I'm talking about books
of CDs, man. Playing them in my car or whatever. And I'm just thinking about, like, now I'm listening to the radio, and if I'm singing lyrics, because you know how easy it is to remember songs, man. Like, just songs just will roll.
Well, oh man,
you know what I'm saying? Right off your head.
Remember algebraic equation,
but you know a song.
But the song could be from 99 in the 2000s.
Yes, man. And I'm talking about, I don't listen to the radio but I listen to, like, podcasts and YouTube videos, all that stuff on my phone from when I'm driving. Well, if I get in the car and my Bluetooth is off or something like that, and the radio is on, and just like unconsciously I'm just kind of getting it, I don't realize it until after a while, and there's a song on and I start singing it. I'd be like, what? How do you even know them words? And I just turn the whole radio off. Don't even worry about trying to connect the Bluetooth. You need to ride in silence after that.
Just to cleanse your
I need to because I'm like, but I do that all the time because I want to make sure that I'm fully participating in, in my experience. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to, shape an environment to some of those things, those lyrics that I know. And I'm like, how ago have I heard that song? That's why I'm saying, like, words, period, are so powerful because they lingering somewhere up in our brain and we don't even know.
Words with sound to it.
Yes.
Music, like you can sing the ABC song or the what is that song about conjunction, what's your function?
Oh yeah.
That type of stuff, like it just bam, it just comes right back to you, right? That's what happens, man. When we are angry or we feeling our feelings been hurt from a spouse or something like that. A lot of times we'll pull what we think to be the next actionable step from a song that we heard, right? Because that's done channeled in. We done sang it and felt it in the bottom of our heart,
Mm-hmm.
and yelled it to the top of our lungs. And now when it come time to put action to it, this is what we do versus reverting back to like the word of God, or which is the most positive thing ever that you could, the strongest foundation you could ever build on. But we'll revert back to the words of a song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was
or just things that people have said in our environments growing up.
Yeah, absolutely. I was telling my daughter yesterday about I don't know, Jasmine Sullivan, I think, sings a song. I brush the windows out your car.
Man, I know all the words.
Yeah, and I was like, see, one day you may be really upset with somebody, because they hurt your feelings, and that song may be what come to your mind, and you feel like that's the next actionable step. Yeah. Because those words have impacted your life, impacted your brain, and now you think that's the right thing to do, even though you know it's the wrong thing to do. It just feels like the next right emotional thing for you to do. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Instead of saying, well, what did the word of God say? Like, did I say that out of my mouth?
Yeah.
Enough to where when I am upset with somebody, that's the action I take, versus allowing some song that I heard, or some colloquial saying that I heard,
or some barbershop talk,
to manifest its reality in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, it's a big deal, man.
It's a huge deal.
I just think that, just being present in this conversation, I'm just running through in my mind, like, how many things I have, listened to, or, watched or heard or whatever on a repetitive basis. Right. And it is literally, it's kind of forged in my brain, so to speak, of, whether it's good or bad. I'm just thinking about now, whether I was conscious in those moments or not, like, my brain was picking that up. Yeah, and I don't know, at what moment it will come out. And I think that's why it's so important, that we're selective, about what it is that we're putting in.
I think it comes out if you never replace it with anything else.
Yeah, true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that it's just it. I think it's stored in there, like it's in the memory bank somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think when we have another actionable step, like based on the word that we can now, put into play, then I think that makes the difference. But if we never felt that, if we never replace that file, with
agreed
with a new file,
as adults, it has to be intense. Like, and I say that, and that's just my belief, because I knew up until the point where I started doing real mindset work. And shout out to my friend Sean Strickland. She's doing a mindset class tomorrow night. I'm gonna try to find the link, and I'm gonna drop it in the comments for this. Unless somebody's in here from our Soul Shift group. If you are, drop it in the comment section. But she's doing a mindset class tomorrow night. She's super good on it. I'm talking about
the best.
Helped me tremendously to change my mindset. But I got off on that tangent because I realized at some point, in my, maybe mid to late 20s ish, that I needed to do, some work on my mind. And then, of course, I got in my 30s and I was like, oh, I really need to do, some work on my brain. And I realized at that point it had to be intense, because up until that point I had 30 something years of junk, from whether it was, growing up, or, environments through college, or, in workforce, whatever it was. I had spent now close to 30 years in environments that weren't necessarily feeding me, all of the right stuff. And so I think that we take it so lightly that, oh, well, I know I need to just stop saying, bad things, or, oh, I need to, stop watching, or stop saying, or stop whatever. It's not just that easy. Like, you really have to, participate in a complete mindset makeover. And that's Sean's class for tomorrow night. But you legitimately have to say, I need a full-blown makeover, because a lot of this stuff is completely defaulted. Like I said, you can be in a conversation and before you know it, you like, yeah, girl, you right. It be like that sometimes, right? Like those are, our defaulted responses. And so if you don't work to change that, now I'm conscious of it to the point where if somebody says something negative, I'm already triggered to help you to come out of that.
Yeah.
Like, whereas before I might have just hit you with a mute. Whereas now I'm at the point where you can say that, but I'm not gonna let you say that to me or in my space, in my environment, and I help you try to correct that situation. But if you don't do the mindset work to get there, it's gonna be rather tough for you to like overcome that, because you got so much unconscious stuff that's happening that you're not even aware that you're responding to negative things. So you really do have to do the work to shift your mind and give yourself some some upgrades for y'all that's out there getting that new iPhone for no reason because it's the same phone. Like you gotta what I'm saying, you gotta participate in upgrades, right? You gotta say, hey, I need to upgrade my mindset. I need to upgrade the way that I think about certain things, right? I need to upgrade my my environment so that I can tame the things that I say.
Right.
Super important. I think that mindset change is the very first thing, very first step that you have to participate in order to get over, the hump of being able to, first not say stuff that you don't necessarily mean or agree with, and then changing, your thought process in that. If you don't know what that looks like and you don't have a step-by-step blueprint to get there, I don't really know what that journey looks like, because I took the one of mindset shift.
And I really think that it is it's one of those things where you have to become conscious of it in all settings, right? Because I think about it, like when I was growing up, like I never cursed in front of my parents or my grandmother, anything like that. I know some people around need parts, they just be, I'm talking about smoking cigarettes in front of their grandparents and drinking beer. I do. Even now, my uncle they'll go down by the pond and smoke a cigarette or drink a beer by my grandma's house. That ain't what that is. But nonetheless, it's environments like that. You like, I ain't gonna cuss at all. I ain't even got to stop myself from cursing.
Yeah.
But then you go around your friends, and like as a teenager or something like that,
environment matters.
Or college, and you just cussing up a storm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But consciously, like, hey, in this environment I shouldn't do it, but in this other environment it's okay because it's acceptable. But it has to become internally uncomfortable or unacceptable for you to make that change.
Yeah.
So that you can be present everywhere that you go. You can show up the same way.
Yeah.
Right. And I think Crystal was pointing out one of the things, and I felt like this was kind of deep. But she was saying that she was having a conversation with one of her friends, and they were talking about really the consequences of things and how growing up, like that, people may have said, hey, don't have sex before marriage because you don't want to have a baby.
Yeah.
Right. But the reality of it is having sex before marriage is consequential from a biblical perspective,
right?
Not just from a baby perspective. You know what I'm saying? Not just having a baby. So now that person may think, oh, I can have sex as long as I don't have a baby.
It's how you say, it's your words.
It's your words, right? What are you really saying, and are you really giving the whole truth? So it's not like, hey, I have a positive mindset when I'm in church, but then I'm negative when I get to work.
Yeah.
Or around other people.
You there expecting every, you know what I'm saying, every blessing. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? But then when you change the environment, it's woe is me.
Exactly. So if you're gonna be grateful, if you're gonna be triumphant, then be victorious in every arena. You go. In every arena. But that requires some to get rid of some stinking thinking.
And tenacity, right? Because especially if you're, you know what I'm saying, if you're in a space where everybody else around you is not necessarily that way. It then, for you, that may be a little bit uncomfortable to now have to, talk different or be different. But if you want different, you have to be different. Right. You know what I'm saying? And you, most importantly, you have to talk different. Because all of what we see currently in our lives are things that we have said. You know what I'm saying? Like legitimately say it. We didn't just pop up, you know what I'm saying, and become entrepreneurs. Like we said we wanted to be business owners. You know what I'm saying? We didn't just pop up, you know, and be parents. You know, we said that we wanted to be parents.
Yeah.
You know, like it doesn't matter what fruit, you know, is out in front of us, and that's good or bad. Everything that we see is a product of what we said. If you don't know it or not. Whether you know it or not. And the reason I know that to be true is because God made it very plain when he wrote the Bible, and he decided that the first book of Genesis, in the first paragraph, that he would say something and then there would be.
Yeah.
Right. And so if that was the first thing that God presented to us, that tells me right there that it's super important what we say.
It is.
It's super important because he basically painted in front of us that our words create our reality, that we can use our words to create.
Yeah.
Like he made all of that clear. Like, hey, I want to show you what it is that I can do. I want to show you, you know, what it is that I'm capable of, right? And then right below that, you know what I'm saying, in that same chapter, he then said, you like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
He created the entire universe with his words, very first thing he ever did, and then trickle down, and you like me.
That's the first thing you tell us about it.
He say, by the way, I made you like me.
Yeah.
And so if that's the very first thing that God presented to us, because it could have been a whole bunch of stuff. He could have opened up Genesis with, hey, boom, here go Adam. Boom, here go Eve. Boom, name some animals. Like he could have did whatever. He could have came on the scene and like, boom, here go Jesus. He could have started it however he wanted to start it. But he started it by speaking.
And then we'll take it for granted.
He started it by speaking. And then he said, and you like me. And so if we don't believe that we should watch our mouth, I don't know what else you can, you know what I'm saying? I don't really know anything else to say behind that other than it is important what I say, because what I say creates things. Now that's whether it's good or whether it's bad. So I have to say what I want to see. And as I always say, I say what I want to see until I see what I said.
Period.
I'm going to keep saying it until I see it, because I know that I literally have the power to create things with my words. My world, literal world, is created with my words.
It definitely helps to strengthen your beliefs, and so that you can continue to go after what it is that you want.
Absolutely. And the more I say it, the only thing that starts to happen is my brain then starts to believe it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like I want to do it the way that God did it. You know what I'm saying? I want to say it, and then I want to see it.
Yeah.
And then I believe that. That's my full-blown belief system, is that if I say a thing, then I'm going to see it, which means I got to be careful what I say or what I agree with.
Right.
Because if I come out here and agree with this foolishness that y'all talking about, as soon as y'all say they die in threes and I agree, now I got to look for 2 more dead people. It just don't make sense.
You right here painting the front of your door red and everything.
So I'm just saying we should watch our mouth in the sense that, you know, to be careful in what it is that we create.
Yeah, agreed.
Because we're responsible for that. We're responsible for these words.
Yeah.
And there's no, you know, and we're thinking that it's innocence. We're thinking that this is innocent agreement, and it's not. As soon as you say, yes, you're right.
Yep.
Okay, now go and see what that creates. I'm just saying, now that you're more conscious of it, or hopefully, you know, you're more conscious of it now. If you happen to slip up and say that, hey, pull those back. Hey, I'm gonna need them words back. That ain't my real belief system.
Yeah.
Go ahead on, bring that back. I'm gonna need to cast those words to the pits of hell, because those not the words that I needed to say out of my mouth. Because I know I have power in the things that I say, and I give those words that I just said no power. No power. Like, that's the level of consciousness that we have to have. And in the beginning stages, that's legit how I was. I was like, oh no, I ain't mean that. I ain't mean that. Cast them words down. Don't let them words take flight.
Yeah.
Let them go. I ain't agree with you. Let that get somebody else to do it. because we're not doing that. Like that's what you have to do until you're tamed enough, right? Until you tame your tongue. I don't. That's in a book somewhere.
Yeah.
It's in a book to tame your tongue.
Yeah.
I don't know, but tame your tongue. Until you get there, then all you have to do is bring. Hey, I bring those back. I cast those down because we had a power, right? But if you just let them out there, you let them float, and then you continue to, build on that with more and more foolishness. Oh, prepare to see what you said.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it's coming. It's coming. I just want to make sure that the words that I say are creating the things that I really, really want to see.
Yeah.
And even if there are situations, of which it may seem difficult, right? It may be a situation where, hey, I understand that this might not necessarily be comfortable for me. I want to speak to the reality that I want to see in that situation.
Absolutely.
That on the other side of this, I still win.
I'm going to say it. I'm speaking to it.
Absolutely.
100%.
Well, hey, you feel good? I feel good. I think.
I feel great. I feel phenomenal. I feel outstanding. So listen.
Hey,
Yeah.
Somebody was taking notes tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Gotta get it, man.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed another episode of Love and Business. It's been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna finish our
the pain? Yeah. I want to give it a little time.
All right. Well,
last night was late.
My brain and my body wanted to say I'm tired. So instead of saying I'm tired, I'm gonna say, well, I got all the energy to finish the painting tonight. I'll tell you, we started them paints last night, and I thought I was gonna finish it last night. But my fingers ended up doing this move right here, and they stayed like that until I woke up. Because I was in the same position for 3 hours painting that painting. So we'll post the finished products for you guys. Maybe we'll finish tonight, but I have to take my time and stay in the lines. Stay in the lines. So I'm gonna say that I'm full of energy and energized to finish the painting tonight. So yeah, I guess that's what we're gonna go and do now is finish the paintings tonight. Amen.
Amen again. We'll see y'all.
Yes, we'll see y'all next week. Thank y'all for joining in.